Hey BBs, it's Plastic and today I'm back with you guys for another video. How are we all doing today? I hope we're all doing very well. In today's video, I want to sit down with you guys in GhoulChat and talk about the importance of knowing the different hair types of the dolls you own. And I'm going to kind of give you guys a guide, a very loose guide on how I can tell and differentiate different hair doll types. And I want to really quickly say that before I go through any of this, that if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. I'm also not like a doll hair expert. I've been collecting dolls, like collecting dolls since like 2020, and I've been really being able to understand that difference between each doll hair type and not that it's just like doll hair, and how really important it is to understand the different types and everything. And because the way that you treat different hair types depends on the type, so you don't want to treat Kanekalon like you would Saran. So I hope that this video can help somebody, even if it just helps one person not straighten their doll's hair off. I think it would make myself feel a lot better. So without further ado, I'm going to go through each hair type in my personal doll collection, so if not everything is covered, try to bear with me, but I'm going to go through the main doll hair types that you'll find on fashion dolls as of right now, and let's get into it. So the first doll hair type that I want to talk about today is Saran doll hair. So this hair is one of my favorite fibers personally when using doll hair. The hair is very silky and soft, and it's really gorgeous for different things. So I think it's perfect when it's straight, to be honest. I love straight Saran. And the first doll that kind of uses it is Generation 3 Draculaura. All of the dolls from her core, her day out, I think her monster ball doll, I don't know that, to be honest. Her fear leading doll all use a really nice Saran hair, and you can kind of tell that it's Saran just by the way it kind of lays. So it lays really nice to her head, so it doesn't poof out or anything, kind of lays really soft. And the hair itself is a really thin fiber. It's not too thick, and it kind of just it flows very effortlessly, and I did not even wash this doll's hair and see how very silky and soft it is. The ends aren't fried or anything. They do definitely need a trim or something, but they're very silky and very soft. And the fiber is mainly used on Bratz dolls from 2001 to 2007-ish, I want to say. And you can kind of just see how flawless and shiny the hair is. It looks so good and very sleek on the head. It's a very nice soft, again, head of Saran. It's very nice, and most of the Bratz dolls use it. There are a couple times in the original G1 run-up where they have a Kanekalon fiber, or there's a poly variant or something, so it's not always on every single Bratz doll, but most of the 01 Bratz dolls, the very original ones, have a Saran hair type. Off the top of my head, I don't think I have too many dolls with curly Saran hair for the Bratz lineup itself. So Wildlife never has Saran hair, and you can kind of tell it's still that very sleek and shiny look, and it doesn't look plasticky kind of. I mean, it is plastic. All doll hair is plastic, but it looks really sleek and gorgeous, and she can do a bunch of hair flips. But it was also kind of used on Claudine, and personally with Saran hair, it doesn't really hold the best curl, to be honest. So my Claudine's hair has fallen flat, along with this Frights Camera Action Laguna's hair, she has a nice head of Saran, but the hair over time just kind of falls flat, to be honest. Saran does not hold a curl very well, but you can use Saran hair in boil washes, so you can use it in high temperatures. If you want to straighten Saran hair, you have to make sure the hair is damp throughout the entire thing. So if you're straightening or using a lot of heat on a Saran hair doll, you're gonna want to make sure it is wet and it can protect it, because if you straight iron doll hair dry, it's going to completely fry it off, and I've seen people do it so many times. So if you are straightening doll hair, make sure it is done wet, especially in the Saran case. But again, this was mostly used on a lot of the Bratz dolls, most Monster High and G1. I want to say G1 used exclusively. No, that's wrong. But they mostly used Saran hair, especially on iconic characters like Frankie, Claudine, and Draculaura. I think Cleo did. I want to say Abby has Saran hair. I know a bunch of them just have Saran hair. And Saran hair kind of comes more in natural color. Saran hair doesn't come with as many fantasy colors as other fibers like Nylon do, but it does have a nice kind of variety of colored hair. You can kind of see the fantasy on Draculaura and Laguna, but that is kind of, I guess, Saran hair for right now. But the main takeaways from this is making sure that you don't boil it or don't straighten this dry. And, you know, I think boil washes for these dolls always work. Curls don't always stay the nicest, but it is the sleekest hair fiber, I think, personally. It's super soft. It always feels very hydrated. That's my favorite thing about Saran hair. It doesn't feel dry. Usually it feels very, very hydrated, and it's very, very nice, especially if it's kept nice. It's now time for Kanekalon doll hair. This is a hair that was really, really, really commonly used with Barbie in like the 80s, 90s, I want to say even like early 2000s to some of the late mid 2010s. They use a lot of Kanekalon hair, which was really, really nice. This hair fiber is also kind of very hydrated, especially if it's, you know, being kept nice. Secondhand dolls with Kanekalon hair are usually really ratty, and they're kind of like matted because the hair does kind of get tangled a little bit quickly, to be honest, if you don't know how to like properly do it. But like, look at how it like just flows so effortlessly. This hair kind of feels, I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like it's not like not hydrated, but it's not like as sleek as Saran hair is. You can kind of see that it moves a little bit more than Saran does. I guess maybe it's not the best example to use that Claudine. Maybe I'll use this Jade. You can kind of see that it moves a lot more with than Saran does, because I'm pretty much doing these the same way. I don't know if you can tell that slight difference, but I feel like this is a very movable hair type, and the hair fiber is very, very heat, you know, not resistant, but it's very like active to heat. So whenever you're using Kanekalon hair, you want to make sure that you don't overly boil wash it, because I know a lot of people like to boil wash their dolls. And in an instance with me, when I first started washing up my dolls, there was a crease that was done in my Spectra's hair. If you can kind of see it, this isn't permanent or anything. You can easily fix this, but this is done when you're using too hot of water on Kanekalon hair and the water is on for too long or anything. I kept this doll in the boil wash for a little bit too long, and it just kind of created these little creases, which you can kind of see now. And this hair does definitely not need a straightening treatment ever. Whenever you put any sort of Kanekalon hair in boiling water, and I mean any of it, it could be really curly, it could be pinned straight, it will get pinned straight. Like when I mean putting Kanekalon hair in a boil wash or even like really hot water, it'll make it completely straight. So if you have a doll with really, really curly Kanekalon hair, do not put this in boiling water, because it will completely ruin the curls. You can recurl it, but it's not the best. And this hair was really also used on Ghoulia and Spectra for Monster High G1. In later lines for Spectra's case, she switched to a darker purple Saran because, I don't know, but they did switch her hair in like the Ghouls Night Out line. Ghoulia, I think, always used Kanekalon in the G1 dolls, not the alumni doll. Her alumni doll does have a Saran hair, and I think she did have a Saran variant in her Wave 1 doll. But this is the reproduction, and you can kind of just see how it, the ends look, how they kind of look a little bit choppy. I know that might just be how it's cut, but usually Kanekalon hair lays very down. It's like a little bit poofy on the head, to be honest. I can kind of see how it lays on this Barbie doll. It doesn't lay like pin straight like Saran does, and it kind of like lifts off the head a little bit. I don't know how to describe this, but it feels very, very soft as well. It's a very nice and soft hair type, and it kind of, again, looks a little bit choppy. Maybe that's just how mine was cut, but even on her, like, you can kind of just see like the ends are a little bit like rougher. And again, the hair does not stay like flat to the head very nicely, but that's just kind of, I guess, how it was rooted. I don't know how to describe Kanekalon. It just feels very like sleek, and you can kind of like, when you feel it, you'll know it. It's very airy. It's a very airy fiber. But Kanekalon doll hair is not used anymore, and it's been discontinued. So any doll from, like, I guess 2015 onwards does not have Kanekalon hair. So any doll that you have from now will not, you know, have Kanekalon hair, and it's just not in production anymore. So this is only on like the older dolls like Monster High G1, some, again, earlier Barbies and stuff, and some Bratz dolls also do have Kanekalon hair. But I think one of the more important, like, I guess, more popular doll hair fibers right now that MGA uses is a nice kiwi nylon. And I have found that MGA uses this a lot since 2019. I think they've been using it a lot. You can see a really nice example of how shiny this is on the reproduction of Kiana from 2022, and how it just looks so like shiny. Like, look at it; it almost looks greasy, and this has been washed and everything. It's very sleek, but it is a very thick hair. You can kind of see it on the bottom, how thick that is. It's very, very thick. And a nylon fiber is actually a much thicker hair strand than, you know, Saran or Kanekalon would be. Saran is also a very, very thick fiber, but not as, I guess, thick as Saran. So usually when they do like a nylon bang, they usually gel it down. And when the gel is in, it looks perfectly straight. I'll give it to you like Felicia. It's a very perfectly straight, I mean, usually. In like the factory, it should be straight lines. And they usually cut the bangs when the hair is gelled down. But in this instance, my poor little OMG Neonlicious, her bangs are short and she kind of got messed up in the like the little bray thing. And her hair, it's still gelled, but the gel has been kind of, dissolving a little bit. You can kind of see how like the ends of her bangs have like curled up a little bit. Not like that they're ever really that straight because it's Neonlicious, but like you can see when you like press this down, like the hair itself gets like very like choppy. With Saran hair, since the hair is a little bit thinner, it kind of doesn't get as choppy, I fear, as like the Nylon does. You can kind of see it. I don't know if this is just me or whatever, but you can see like this is much more straight and this is much more like choppy, just because I think the Kanekalon hair, since it is a thicker fiber, they like kind of cut it down, so you can kind of see how like, it looks bad when you flatten it and it looks like uneven. I don't know if this makes any sense to anybody, but like to me it makes sense. So whenever I get a doll with like a nice nylon hair, like this Lola Felicia, I will not brush her hair. Not brush her hair. I will brush her hair, but I won't like clean the hair. I won't wash the hair. I won't put this hair under any water, because if you do, the gel's gone and then the hair will not get as straight. This was kind of like this in factory, so it's not like the best straight, but it's straight enough for me to be happy with it. So if you have it all with like a nice nylon hair, like a new doll by MGA or Rainbow High, I would definitely, and they have bangs, I would definitely recommend not washing the bangs gel out, because I did with my Kitty K and she ended up horrible and it was a big mess. But yeah, so don't wash any dolls with bangs with nylon. That's new, I think. That's my advice. But back to like the regular nylon, this hair fiber is again very, very thick and it's very heat resistant. So if you want to, you can definitely straighten this hair without water. I would always suggest using water and making sure the hair is wet when straightening it and using a specific heat tool. But one thing that I would not recommend with nylon is boiling it, to be honest. Every time I boil nylon hair, it always kind of gets a little bit frizzy. This is just my Jade from 2022. Her hair is kind of fried, but I boiled her hair because it felt really gross out of box, and it just kind of doesn't, it's like very dull now. I have boil washed some dolls since that with nylon hair, with like my Rock Angel's Chloe, and her hair turned out fine. But usually nylon hair is very hit or miss when boil washing it, and I would not recommend boil washing it, to be honest with you guys. It just doesn't always turn out the best. I would just use like a nice conditioner and nice like lukewarm water when washing nylon hair, that's what I meant. But again, this hair is very, very shiny, and it comes in a lot of different fantasy colors. A lot of the OMG dolls actually use quite a bit of like the regular nylon hair. It's very, again, silk and soft and really nice, thick little hair fiber. And I really do enjoy it with the OMG dolls. They have a lot of fantasy colors. And the nylon hair actually holds a curl really, really nicely. My Bella has some nice little curls in here. And they have done a really, really nice job with Kanekalon having, just it stays very well. So if you like put it in hot water, it will retain those curls and it won't get straight like Saran hair will. When you put Saran hair in like Claudine, if you put this in boiling water, it won't like get pinned straight like Kanekalon will, but it won't stay as curly as I think the nylon does. And I prefer the nylon the most because it comes in so many fun colors. But with the good, there's always bad. So Kanekalon, or not Kanekalon, I keep saying Kanekalon. Nylon doll hair there's two kind of different grades that I've noticed so far. And the second one, besides like just like the regular nylon, and I'll show you guys a side by side in just a minute, is the metallic nylon that famously Rainbow High Violet Willow uses. And this nylon is very shiny and very, very like metallic-y. That's kind of what it gets its name from. And the ends kind of get like this after a wash. They kind of fall, they don't like stay together, it looks kind of undone. And the hair is also used in OMG. It's kind of just again that like very like shinier nylon, and I'll put it side by side just with you guys so you can kind of see. I don't know if this is very apparent to anybody else, but there's definitely more vibrancy. She has like orange hair. I'm gonna try to be serious, but like you can kind of just tell like this looks a little bit more cheaper. It looks like a party wig. And then obviously with Violet Willow and Bella Parker, you can kind of just see how like this is like the regular nylon and it looks a little bit more matte. I know it is still very shiny, but this is like the most shiny and it looks almost fried. It's not fried. It has not been, it's been washed once and it's been washed with cold water. But you can kind of just see like the difference. And I feel like the best way to tell doll hair is just like by experience. So you can kind of just see how like this has changed so much. And with nylon hair in specific, if you had to boil wash a doll's hair, I would boil wash the kiwi nylon rather than the metallic nylon. The metallic nylon just, again, gets frayed up a lot at the end. And even here, this is kind of an example of what I meant by, like, the bangs kind of getting gross at the end. I did cut these, so, like, it's not the best example. But, like, see how, like, it just kind of, like, frays out from each other? I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody else, but, like, to me, it's very, very, very apparent. And this is just not the best. It kind of, again, feels fried. It doesn't look the best. It's just not my favorite, and it is kind of, again, very thick. But with the bad comes even worse and worser, because now we have polypropylene hair. This is my least favorite hair type in the entire world. I wish this hair type would stop being used, and I just truly, truly, truly hate it. And I'm going to get into why, because it's horrible. So there are two different kind of types of polypropylene hair. The first one that I want to talk about is the untreated one that MJA used to use back in the day. So this is a thicker hair. It's the same polypropylene hair, but just, I guess, untreated. And it's, you can't really tell because I kind of fixed it already on my Sasha, but you can see how, like, very dry the ends are. It's a very thick fiber. It doesn't, like, lay nice. It doesn't move very nice. It's very, very stiff hair. And it is very, very bulky. So with this doll, she's rooted kind of very, like, sporadically, but it feels very, very thick in the hand. And I have done a lot to thin this out, but it's a very, very thick fiber. And you can kind of see how shiny it looks and how the ends just look disgusting, despite me even, like, straightening iron this hair. This hair is very stubborn hair, to be honest. It's very thick plastic, and it does work. You can, like, kind of fix it and help fix it with a straightening iron method. That's what I prefer to use on all of my dolls with polypropylene hair. And so Bratz dolls specifically use this from, like, 2008 to, like, the 2010s era, when they didn't have as much money. This is a very cheap fiber as well. They usually use this fiber on, like, cheaper dolls. So Bratz, when their budget were cut, they used this hair. This hair does also fall out over 8 times. So this is what I mean by both of them. The hair will fall out over time, but this is, like, the untreated one. And you can kind of see, like, how my Ratzilla's Sasha Bella doll has some curls in her hair. I straightened this hair a couple months ago, and it kind of goes back, so that kind of just shows you guys how stubborn this hair is. It was straight at one point. I do promise you, I ran a straightener through it, and it just kind of curls back up, I think, over time, which isn't the best. And even the bangs, you can kind of see how, like, they just, like, do not look the best. They kind of just look fried, and they look really gross. And it's a very, again, thick and coarse hair type. It doesn't look the best at the ends. Just not the best ever. Here is another 2010s Bratz doll. This is actually the 2010s era. You can kind of see how gross the ends look, despite me literally chopping off half of her hair. Her hair used to go down her ankles, but I chopped it off because it kept getting fried. And it just does not look the best. So I do have a little tutorial on how I fix polypropylene hair. This is a different kind of type than Claudine's were, but I do have a video that I'll link in the description. It just looks so fried. This is not, like, I didn't fix it on this one, but, like, it just does not look great. And this is, again, a very, very thick head of hair, despite it being. But now on to, like, the more, I guess, treated kind of polypropylene hair. And, again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I think this is, because it definitely does feel very different from the Bratz hair. This is, like, the Mattel's polypropylene, and it is very famously used on G3 Claudine, also on Cleo, and on specific deluxe Frankie dolls as of right now. It is rumored to also be used on the G3 Abby throughout, like, leaks and everything. So if you guys get Abby in the near future, the new one that's coming out, I guess, in the next couple of months, beware, because she does probably use polypropylene hair. And this hair is, again, awful. I hate it so much. See how Frankie Creepover doll, like, see how, like, the black, it gets, like, tangly, and it doesn't look the best ever. And you can kind of tell, I guess, with this Frankie as well, like, the hair is a very white hair. And combining it side by side with a more, the Saran variants of Frankie, so Coffin Bean, their core doll, their day out doll, I think, and their Ghoul Spirit doll also all have Saran hair. You can kind of see that the Saran hair has a more yellow tint, while the polypropylene hair variant uses a lot whiter. It's very stark white. And despite the differences, I still prefer the Saran. You can kind of just see how, like, it looks. Like, even, like, the black over on this side looks a lot nicer, and the streaks don't look as scratchy. This is a very scratchy fiber as well. You can kind of just see at the ends as well. This hair is very, very poofy. It's very, very thick as well. This is, again, one of the thicker fibers. Just the single strands are, you can kind of see it right now. It's very, very thick. And also Claudine does use it. The curly nylon, or the curly polypropylene, is some of the worst, to be honest. It just does kind of like gets tangled very easily. It doesn't look the best. And this is one of the dolls that I straight ironed in her hair. I kind of curled it when I straight ironed it. But even after straightening it, the hair is again very like clumpy at the ends, and it kind of gets tangled towards the bottoms. It feels very, very nice at the top actually, but it just gets gross at the bottoms, and it feels very plasticky. It feels very like silicone-y, and it feels just not the best ever, and even brushing it gets it worse. The hair does not stay on the head as nice. It kind of poofs out. You can kind of see the rooting pattern and how it kind of goes up. And this is again a very shiny fiber. It just is not the best. And again, it degrades over time. So in like 20 years, these dolls will all be bald and have no hair, and it'll just kind of crumble in your hand as you like play with it. This is G3 Cleo. She does also use Saran hair. You can kind of see, or not Saran, she uses polypropylene hair. Kind of see it kind of poking out at the ends. It kind of just doesn't lay the best. It's again a very airy thing, but it's also very stiff in the ends. It does look better on Cleo just because her hair is treated, but it doesn't look, it looks fine actually, to be honest. I'm being dramatic, but it just does not feel the nice in person. This fiber is very, very interesting, but I don't think there are any actual Saran variants of Cleo. People are saying that they have a Saran variant, but they're only saying that because like it feels very different from the G3 Claudine. So I do believe she only uses polypropylene in her core doll. I don't know. That's what I've seen so far. I don't think I've seen anyone's dolls that actually look like Saran, but it is a very thick hair, and you can kind of just tell in your hands how thick it is compared to like a doll with like even a nicer nylon. It feels very much thinner, and what is it called? Like a Saran hair. It feels very, very different, and it just reacts differently to heat. Again, this is a nicer hair to, I think I have straight ironed this hair dry before and it hasn't turned out the worst. You always, no matter what hair type your doll has, if you're straight ironing your doll's hair to like help it, always use the lowest setting and work your way up, and use this test strand. Oh my god, I'm so sick of seeing people with dolls have like fried hair at like the front of their scalps. Y'all do better, okay? Sorry that ran, but you can even just see how like different, like this is very dull as well, and this is definitely a little bit more shinier. And I know this isn't like a specific hair type, but I want to talk about doll hair tinsel because there's so much happening around it right now, and I just want to like give my 2 cents into the doll hair tinsel fiasco. So the best hair tinsel fiber that I personally prefer the most is this Abby tinsel, and it looks so gorgeous on her head. I'm not gonna like try to identify it for you because I don't really know if there's like a word for it, but it's just what I know is Abby tinsel. You can kind of see how this tinsel almost looks like it's beaded through. There's like little like dots in it. Like I'm not sure if you guys can really tell, but there are definitely like little like dots in it. And this hair is, I have found, I'm not sure if this is for everybody, but like through my personal experience, again, knock on wood and everything, boiling this tinsel is safe. It doesn't like, I honestly don't recommend anybody putting any tinsel near heat ever. Any sort of tinsel out of all the 3 that I have right here, do not put any of them on heat. I just don't recommend it. But there have been times where I've boil washed G3 or G1 Abby's hair, and I have had tinsel be perfectly fine. But again, do not boil it because it doesn't always turn out the best. But this is the tinsel that I find is the most resilient to stuff. It doesn't always like clump up like this one will, and I'll show you guys that in just a minute, but it usually does lay pretty straight to the head, and it kind of, you know, goes through the hair pattern. It doesn't like stick out like crazy, where we have Costume Ball Bella, who has this different kind of tinsel. I don't really know again what their tinsel's called, but it feels more wiry, to be honest, and it kind of falls apart very easily. This tinsel does not stay very nicely in her hair, and it kind of just pokes out. You can kind of definitely see it on the back. Even washing this and stuff, it just doesn't stay the nicest, and it doesn't like look good, to be honest. It just kind of like pokes out. I don't really know what this is called, but like Rainbow High nylon or Rainbow High tinsel, it just kind of looks like that. And I do want to remove that eventually, but I'm very lazy. And the more like, I guess, commonly used tinsel, maybe, I don't know, is like the Cleo Nephra tinsel that they used in Monster High back in the day. This tinsel is very interesting because, again, it doesn't really like lay the nicest, and it's not as pretty as Abby's is, but it's like almost done by like a couple of strands of hair together. You can kind of see like the see how, wait, look at this, the tinsel, the shiny part, and like there's like a little like white string. It looks like the white string has been like applied to a golden thing, and this hair will completely fry off in a boil wash. So any hair like with a Cleo or a Nephra doll, do not boil wash them. I promise you guys, it will not end up very nicely. I have learned that lesson. But you can kind of just see like how like it doesn't like look the best. It kind of gets tangled very easily, and this is my least favorite hair tinsel by far. I don't know if they have like, again, names or anything, but I'm just going based off my personal experience. This hair just does not work out. Like, see how it like just separates very quickly and easily. Not the best. And I know I talked a lot in this video, but I really want to show you guys, because I feel like that's the best way to learn, is to show you guys. I can't really have you guys feel the hair again, because it's obviously through a YouTube video. But I want to go through the hair. So this is Saran, Kanekalon, regular nylon, metallic nylon, untreated poly, and treated poly, I think. I might be incorrect about these two, but there are two different, like Bratz poly and Monster High poly, I think are very, very different in the feeling. I want to give you guys, again, another up close. So this is Saran. Very, it's a very shiny kind of thing. It's very, it's kind of thick and thin at the same time, and it can shed very, very easily, especially when you're getting the doll right on out of the box, or even secondhand. And Saran dolls actually can get really, really bad over time. If you take care of them nicely, they will end up trying to pull a doll. They can turn out really nicely if you like take care of them, but there are dolls that I have gotten from the flea market that are almost past being fixed in this wildlife safari. No, Wild Wild West Fiona is kind of testament of the nice Saran that you've just got out of the box and Saran that's been around for a long time. So it's kind of hard to kind of differentiate these because, again, secondhand dolls are much different than new hand dolls. So again, throughout experience, just try to like lurk at like how like it just like flows and everything. Also researching the doll in specific. Like I know Bratz personally. I know Bratz uses a lot of Saran hair, so that's kind of what I based off, knowing that this is a Saran fiber. Obviously not all doll brands will use the same hair fiber for each release, but that's kind of what I like to go off of. And then we have Saran next to Kanekalon, because I want to show you guys that, kind of to see how it flows differently. Kanekalon is a very, like, swingy fiber, I guess. I'm not the best with words, so I do, again, apologize. I'm going to show you guys Saran next to regular nylon, and I kind of see how that moves. It's, again, they're pretty much the same shininess. I just think that a regular nylon's a much thicker fiber, and the Saran is much thinner, even though they're both kind of thick fibers. We also have Saran next to metallic nylon, and this is a very, very interesting Violet. Oh God, she's something. She really, really is something. Here is Saran next to that polypropylene, yum, 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 and next to this horrible G3 Claudine polypropylene. So yeah, look at how shiny that is. It looks so... I also do want to show Kanekalon next to nylon. Kind of see how they flow very differently. Next to metallic nylon. Very, very interesting. Next to polypropylene. Kind of very stiff again. Very, very stiff fibers. And the Monster High poly. Yep. We also have regular nylon next to metallic nylon. Sorry if this is a kind of a boring part of the video. I just want to show you guys every single thing before signing off. We also have the poly hair. Poly hair, again, does not come in, or comes in more colors than Saran does. Yeah. Kind of speaks for itself at this point. Just not the biggest fan of some of these fibers. So just be wary of that in the future when you're buying a doll. Just because I think taking care of the dolls really, really, really does impact how they look on display and how you can treat them and everything. So yeah, in the comments below, please let me know if this helped anybody. And if I did say anything wrong or helped anyone or did something wrong or said something wrong or showed something wrong, please kindly educate me and others in the comments below. If I see any snarky comments, they will be removed, and I really don't want this to be a place for hate, because we are, again, all still learning about doll hairs. It's ever growing, and we're ever finding out new information. So please be kind and courteous in the comments. I think, especially to new collectors, I don't think it's ever fair to just hate them because they don't know what polypropylene is. I think it's always important to just continue to educate and look for other resources and everything. And that's kind of what I did. This is, again, just information that I've gathered from the past, like, 3 years of actually collecting dolls and not just being like, I want a doll, and it's a thing. Because, again, collecting dolls and knowing the way that you treat your dolls and how to maintain them is so important for the display of them all. Like, just with, like, the knowledge of polypropylene, I was able to kind of save my my first edition Claudine just by giving her some braids and making sure the hair isn't, like, boil wash, because again, polypropylene doesn't do the best in boil washes. It kind of fries up. I don't know if I said that, but I'm saying it now. So don't boil wash your polypropylene dolls. I see people do it all the time, and it gives me a cringe, because the one time that I boil washed polypropylene, it just made it worse. So My advice is don't boil wash polypropylene ever. It's horrible. Or wash it. Don't wash it, to be honest. Ew. I guess unless you have to. But, okay. I'm gonna stop rambling, and I hope, again, this video helps somebody. I really, really do hope it did help. And again, I'm just kind of going based off my knowledge. So, again, thank you guys again, though, so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys did learn something or help something. And, yeah, I love you guys. Please be nice. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. I love you all so very much again. Stay fierce and stay lovely. Bye, y'all. Bye. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye, everybody.